What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Take a Time Out. We had a week hiatus, took a little break. I mean, most people in the sports world really did. Took a break last week, especially after the All Star game. Like, I was coming in here like we might talk a little All Star, and nah, there's nothing to talk about, bro. Nothing. That was shameful. But yeah, this episode number 47. We're back, man. It's good to be back. Good to be in front of this microphone again. Basketball's back as well. Been some games going on, but this week we're going to talk about the season as a whole. We're ramping up towards playoffs, like 16 to 15 games left, so I'm getting really excited for playoff basketball. But this week we're going to do one thing that we learned from every team this season. And if you got it finished, where do you think they'll finish in the rankings? So we'll start out west, and we're just going to start from the 1 seed all the way to the 15. We'll start with the Timberwolves out west. They are the 1 seed right now, tied with the Thunder. The thing I learned the most about the Timberwolves is I learned Ant is going to be a top 10 player until he's out of his prime.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty well thought out point. I mean, I think he's just we got a draft here at the end, and he's cracking that top 5 players to watch. He's just so fun to watch, and the talking point right now is his game's a lot like Michael Jordan and a lot like how Kobe's was and stuff like that. So
Kind of like a modern Michael Jordan, if there was. For
Yeah.
sure, I can see that.
that shoots threes, yeah, MJ that shoots threes. So you got anything, Nate?
For me, it's not that this is necessarily still a good thing, but it's looking better, and that's the Rudy Gobert trade that happened a couple years ago. It's like this team is finally, they're number one in the West right now, or
Yeah.
tied for number one. They're just one of the best teams in the West, and that doesn't happen without probably Defensive Player of the Year this year. So
Yeah, him or Brooke Lopez, yeah. And that was a shaky trade. I mean, like the picks that they gave up and all of that. I
At
mean,
the time,
they-
it was looked like really frowned upon.
yeah, and
when that
even
came
last year it looked frowned upon. I
Mhm.
mean, with the success that they had, they didn't have much of it. They signed Mike Conley to another deal and signed him up. So yeah, I had a little notes written down on them, and I think they'll finish second in the West, but and that Gobert, if he can perform in the playoffs, we'll see. And then Mike Conley, if he can survive a deep playoff run with how old he is. So
Yeah, my little note, I guess I put for the Timberwolves is that their defense is good enough to carry them deep into the playoffs, in my opinion.
Right.
Them being a number 1 ranked defense in the whole league, I mean, it's shown they're number 1 in the West. I think they're right on their timetable, what they were kind of looking for. Maybe the casual fan can't see their timetable like what it was to trade a couple years ago, but they built all around defense. Like, this whole team is straight defense, and then, like you said, having Ant being a top 5 player, top 10 player, cracking the ceiling. Yeah, I mean, this team has a lot of talent, from starters to even depth, like Nas Reed on the bench. Like, that is like the type of six-man that you need on the team. So
yeah.
that's my little thoughts about Timberwolves.
All right, on to the Thunder. They are sitting at the, like I said, tied with 1, but technically second. My thing I learned this year is they have the best young core in the NBA and will be around for years to come. So I mean, last year's that was a big talking point. Was like, name your top 5 young cores right now, and it was like debatable, like Thunder, Magic, Rockets, who knows? And it's probably because we hadn't seen Shea play as much games as we thought, but now he's playing. He's like they're like the only team with a young core that has a superstar. So
I mean, yeah, this team, the Thunder right now, is, in my opinion, they're way ahead of a schedule on their timetable.
Yeah.
When I thought they would be
100%.
competing would be like 2 or 3 years from now once their core developed. But this team, like you said, is already so young and playing at literally the top of the division. What are they, number 2 right now?
yeah,
This team is way ahead of schedule, and they're literally like, I think this year they'll make some noise in the playoffs, but they're also young, so we can see how that could maybe go for them. But I think this team's literally like one piece away this offseason becoming like a straight-up dynasty. Not even that. They already have a franchise like moving forward. Like, for the next 5-10 years, the team's going to be solid. But I think one piece away from becoming like a championship contending team, in my opinion.
yeah. I think they finished first, and my note that I have written down was their depth. It reminds me, with their depth, it reminds me of like that young Celtics team from a couple years ago when they were really, really young, probably too young to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they did. So I could see this team cracking that Western Conference Finals, maybe not winning it all, but like you said, they're ahead of schedule. So, all right. So then at the 3 seed, we got the Nuggets. The Nuggets, man. I said they're entering the Cavs with LeBron territory. It doesn't matter what seed they are.
I mean, I'm right there with you. In my opinion, like, regardless of standings, when it comes to playoff time, I think this is the best team in the West.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they've shown it, haven't they? I mean, as of late, they just turn it on whenever they feel like it, basically.
And they're deep.
Yeah.
Like, they have a full squad. And as long as Jokic is healthy, that team is literally like, I mean, Jokic is magical the way he plays. Like, really unathletic, but crazy good in his own way. So, yeah. I think they're entering that. Like, I actually really agree with you. So, with the Cavs, LeBron territory, it doesn't really matter as much the regular season, but this team you don't want to see in the playoffs because they're going to come full force.
Especially in Denver.
Oh, yeah. That's
like, if they finish with the high seed, like, you do not want to play them in the first couple of games.
Mm-mm. Yeah, and Jokic, I was looking at the MVP stuff, and I was debating making a bet and stuff. I like Shea sitting there, but then I looked and I was like, it's crazy to me how everybody's usage numbers in that MVP race is ridiculous. And then Jokic is sitting there at 20th. He's 20th in usage in the whole NBA right now.
Really?
That's crazy.
So for you to be number one in MVP voting right now,
20th in usage is
and you're 20th in usage, it's like this. It's his screen game, the screens that he sets, and the passes that he makes, like stuff like that. It's crazy to me.
And come playoffs, that usage is only going to go up.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right, the Clippers. They're sitting there at the 4 seed. I put no Kawhi, no title, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This season all relies on his health. That's one thing I think we've learned this year is that when Kawhi's engaged, it's a whole different team. I mean, another stat that I was looking into, he leads the league in loose balls. Who would have thought, like, getting loose balls, like, that Kawhi would be leading the league in there? He seems more like the guy that's like, it's the regular season. I'm not diving around and all that. Like, he's engaged this year. That's a stat that jumps off the page. It's like, this dude's trying out there.
At least compared to last year. But I know he dealt with a lot of injuries then.
Yeah.
I think my little note for the Clippers is I think they'll finish maybe, I'd say second or third in the division. They're such a hot team, and, like, they're also one of the deepest teams in the league. Not even just, like, with their all-star players, but, like, even some of their bench players. Like, Russell Westbrook's a great man to have a sixth-man off the bench. Like, and maybe he's not in his prime. I know he had the Lakers downfall, but, like, he fits in this Clippers system as well. James Harden has been looking really good, and like you said, if Kawhi can stay healthy, like, this team doesn't really have a ceiling. Like, they're gonna be a hard team to beat.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I mean, for one, like, they are good enough to beat just about any team in the league. But when it does come playoffs, like, especially the second, and if they do make it to the conference finals, there's too many other better teams, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the one note that I did have written down is, like, if they get matched up, the NBA is all about matchups, like who you play. But if they got matched up against Denver, we just talked about them.
It
Like,
might be a bit tough series.
who's the matchup for Jokic? Like, who's guarding Jokic? It's going to be tough.
Yeah,
It's going to be
I
tough.
agree with that point.
If it's Zubac, he's going to be fouling out the game in
That's
the
what I'm
third
saying.
quarter.
And then I don't even know who their backup big is off the top of my head. I really don't.
Mason Plumlee, I think.
Yeah, it is Mason Plumlee.
So
So
that's scary.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's tough out there. All right, on to the next. Nate's own Sacramento Kings. I said they need to go out next year and get one more star.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this year. Maybe it wasn't the year of the stars. Maybe it's in free agency, but I feel like they're definitely one piece away. They're sitting there at the 5 seed, kind of like if I had to pick a stock, their stock's probably going down.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at the teams below them, like the Suns, the Pelicans, Lakers, like all those team stocks are looking up, and they'll probably slide. So I've said they finish 8th. So
Yeah, I don't know. The Kings started off really hot to the season. They're a little bit on a decline, but not too much, I feel like. They're still a really good squad. Like, they're still a little bit of a younger team in a way. But I agree with what Dom said. Like, they are really kind of like a piece away from becoming like a really good contending team. They have the shooters. They have some good pieces, but I don't think De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis is enough to carry deep into the playoffs compared to some of these other squads that they're going to have to go against.
Yeah.
So I agree with that point.
I think that the Kings are a team that when they make it to the playoffs, because they're going to be a playoff team, they can definitely make some noise, but realistically, I don't see them making it out of the second round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But something I'd like to see personally from them more, and it is something at least they did in their last game, but you got to get De'Aaron Fox involved early.
Yeah.
Because, like, he scores a lot of his points in the third and the fourth quarter, but, like, he's just he's your best player.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know. They just lost so many games where
I will say for the Kings not being as big of a market as compared to some other teams, they have probably the best atmospheres to play in though. Like,
Yeah.
especially come playoff time too.
That and the whole new thing, it's like it's like you drive down the road and you see that Arby's getting redone.
Mm-hmm.
That was like what happened with the Kings. Now they're like lighting the beam.
They are. That's fire.
Like before all that, it was like Boogie Cousins is like, I want to be here. That's the only dude that wanted to be there. Like nobody
Yeah.
wanted to play in Sacramento.
Facts.
But now the whole vibe's changed.
I mean, yeah, they just beat the Clippers last night, and
Yeah.
the crowd was cheering for
That crowd
Light
goes
the
crazy
Beam.
there in Sacramento.
Light the beam, baby.
Yeah, in Clippers territory.
Yeah, that's a game I'd like to go to for sure. All right. Next we got the Suns, Phoenix Suns. I said we will never. This is what I learned. We will never see this team fully healthy. I've come to just that's what I think I've learned because it's just always something, man. Bradley Beal's not playing ball now. It's like there always somebody's injured, and Nurkic hasn't even got hurt yet, and he is like as injury prone as it comes. So yeah, I mean, I got this team finishing 6th. They could still win any series with D-Book and KD, but that was what I learned is I don't think we're ever going to see him fully healthy. Somebody will be out.
I think that just like the Clippers, this is another team that can beat any team in the league. But like when it comes to playoff time, and even the point that you just can't, or you mentioned that they just can't stay healthy. Like I do not see this team making it far into the postseason.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Suns are a weird team to me. I agree with your point, Dom. Like, maybe it's just like how KD gets surrounded. It's not KD's fault, but like I feel like every team, last couple teams KD's been to with the Nets and now the Suns, like
Bad luck, huh?
bad luck with having the best players on the court at the same time. It just seems to be a little trend. It's not KD's fault. It's just really like bad luck, just not being able to get on the court together. But when they've all played together, they have looked decent. Like they look like actually a really solid squad. But one thing that concerns me about the Suns, especially getting into the postseason, is just I know the stars are gonna be playing more minutes, but like still this depth on their squad. Like I don't think they have one good rotational player in their bench besides maybe like Bol.
Royce O'Neal's been playing
Royce
all right.
O'Neal, but like those are not two big names coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Especially come to playoff time, you might see like really like a 7-man rotation, 8-man rotation. So I don't know.
It's going to be a tight.
It
like
is.
you talked about, it's going to be tight over there. Eubanks, he's a I mean, he just got punched in the face.
Yeah.
That was crazy, but all right, on to the Pelicans. I said they show up in big games, but they just play to the level of their competition. What I've noticed is in good games, they might even blow out the really good teams here and there, but they'll lose to the Raptors or the Pistons or stupid stuff like that. So, and I feel like with the Pelicans, there's always somebody like I feel like it's how we talked about the Knicks early in the year when we were talking about it's either Julius showing up or Jalen's not showing up. Like
Lack of effort on certain nights.
yeah, it's like Brandon Ingram will show up and then Zion won't show up, or CJ will be there and then Trey Murphy's not playing right. So I feel like none of them just get hot at the same time.
Mhm.
They're not all clicking at the same time. So that's one thing to worry about come playoff time. But I like watching this Pelicans team. It is a fun team to watch.
I think that this is the biggest sleeper in the Western Conference right now. And I would not want to play them in the first round of the playoffs.
Out of all these teams, I definitely wouldn't either, though.
Like I like the Pelicans, but I don't know. From what I've seen, and like especially in like interviews, like asking what were they gonna do if you win the 500K from this,
Yeah,
and they
you
just
still
look at
think
you,
about
smile.
that?
Like this team. Like I'm not saying they're not serious about basketball because obviously in the NBA, but like I feel like compared to some of these other teams that really want to chip, I just feel like their mentality's not there. And like you said, taking nights off, you can't do that when it comes to playoff time. And I don't know. Sometimes when I watch these Pelicans, I kind of just notice. I feel like there's like a chemistry fit that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird to me. Like I don't know how to explain it, but I just Zion running the one sometimes. Just I'm not saying Zion can't do that.
Point
It's
Zion.
it's
What do you
just-
mean?
It's just
No, they don't.
I don't know. This Pelicans fit's just a weird team to me. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about.
I
it, to
just
be
like
honest.
they defensively though, like when they are all showing up, like they match up with just about any team in the league.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, and you don't hear anybody saying Zion's like overweight anymore. You really don't because the dude's in
Stephen A.
shape.
Smith.
He's played a lot of games, so
Yeah, it's a season. That's
We'll see, but-
Definitely something to credit to them.
yeah. I mean, real quick, if you had to pick, like if you're one of them top seeds, if you had to pick playing the Pelicans, Lakers, or Suns, like what's the team you're like, nah, we're good with playing it. Like we were ready to play them.
I'd probably,
You probably pick the Pels, you think?
yeah.
Just
I'd
because
rather play the Pels than the
Yeah.
Lakers and the Suns, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, I think
Like for the
I
playoff
think
time,
I'd
at
rather
least.
play the Suns
Oh, this is different. I'd rather play the Lakers. So we're all different.
because I just think the Lakers and the Pelicans are a lot better defensively than
They are.
the Suns.
Oh no, I
Yeah.
feel like the Lakers at least playoff time will come like they always do. I feel like, especially with having an older squad, like they're veterans, like they're gonna turn a notch up when it comes to playoff time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just what I think.
All right. Well, we'll get into them for sure. So the Mavericks. The Mavericks are sitting there, and they're the winner of free agency by far, not even
100%.
close. And but how will it fare in the playoffs?
Very good.
You think so? Yeah. I
do.
mean, PJ Washington defensively has just been jumping off the paper.
He's
like,
super versatile, like
Yeah.
offensively, defensively. I think he's a perfect fit in the Mavs, like
Yeah.
the Mavs system. He's like an upgraded Grant Williams by far.
Like if that Dorian Finney-Smith rumor probably wasn't true, but like this is the type of dude you want to go up 2 to 3 first-round picks for because he can defend all positions, just like OG or just like this is like they're all in on PJ playing defense and surrounding Luka with defense so he doesn't have to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hate when teams are like, but why can't you play defense? Like stop doing that with Luka. He's obviously not going to, and he can't. So why not surround them like that? But you think they'll fare well in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I think their moves they made in the offseason, like you said, 100% the winners to me. I love PJ Washington as a player alone, and I think he fits better in this Mavs system, way better than he did as the Hornets, who kind of don't really have a direction right now.
No.
And then on top of that, the Daniel Gafford, that was such a sleeper trade because I like him as a center. And I think
he's looked really good.
he's looked amazing playing alongside Luka, like exactly what they needed as a center. And then I think Lively off the bench as another big that's a perfect backup center if anything. So this squad's gonna be deep. They have everything.
Yeah, now that's the scary team. That's the team I don't want to play if they're
I
sitting
agree.
there at the lower seed. But I think they'll jump up. I had them finishing 5th, so I think they'll make a push.
I agree with everything you guys said, but I think at the end of the day, even though this team is a lot better after the trade deadline, like this team lives and dies by Luka. And if he's not, which it's hard to be like,
Yeah,
Luka's Luka every single night.
I've never seen them not show up.
But
I'm saying.
I mean, what
every night.
happens when his supporting cast doesn't show up?
He has a good supporting cast. Even if you take Luka out of that Mavs lineup, I think that's a starting lineup in this league for sure already.
Yeah.
Like Kyrie can still run that one.
Mm-hmm.
Luka not there.
Kyrie's looked so much better than I thought,
Yes.
man.
He
next
has.
to Luka. So much better than I thought. Like, no, he hasn't even been talking. Like, there's nothing coming out of Kyrie's camp right now. Like, he's just playing
Just
ball,
hoops.
man. He's just hooping. So we love to see that. All right, the Lakers. I got them finishing 10th.
I really like your comment right here.
I said they will be as good as Austin Reeves and D'Lo let them be.
Facts.
I think that's pretty much that's where they're going, man. Is how far them dudes are, how good them dudes are playing, how far they can take them. Like it all relies on them. With this new scheme where they're playing LeBron less minutes, he'll definitely ramp it up in the playoffs, stuff like that. But as good as LeBron is, he needs a supporting cast at this point in his career. And the guys like Austin Reeves and D'Lo, when they're hooping, Lakers are hooping.
Mm-hmm.
When they're not, you lose to the Suns and get blown out on national TV. So
Yeah, like I 100% agree with that whole point. D'Lo, I will give him credit. With a lot of talk at the trade deadline, we thought he was like the biggest factor to leave, and actually since the trade deadline, he's actually been hooping a lot, like double what I thought he was doing earlier in the season. So he's been playing really well. Austin Reeves still been playing decent, but I agree. Like this team's only as good as Austin Reeves and D'Lo lets them because Anthony Davis, his defense is still strong, like top notch as a center, but his offensive game has definitely took a little regression this year. So if their guards aren't playing good, like there's not a much. There's only so much LeBron and AD can really do if they can't get no outside threat. So
yeah.
I think you having them finish at 10th is pretty accurate, and
they're borderline.
I think
playoff.
that their highlight of the season was them winning the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll be in that play-in game, so that'll be a real fun play-in game. I mean, I got them finishing 10th, and I got like the 8th seed they would either play the Mavs, like that would be fun to see. So the play-in's even gonna be fun.
Lakers and Mavs
I
would be
will
a good
say though,
series.
like next season, if this is like kind of one of LeBron's last
stints.
last rides or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, I think that they're going to be a lot better of a team because they'll have a lot more assets to start moving around.
I don't know. From what I seen today, LeBron was seeking maybe a next contract. It was like 3 years,
And they said
10
9
figures,
digits.
something like 100 mil, something like that. 3 years.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to give a 39-year-old. Let's be honest. Who would ever imagine giving a 39-year-old
Who's trying to
for
play with
100?
his son that just got knocked out of like majority of mock
Yeah.
drafts?
Speaking of, actually, while we're on the Lakers a little bit, we can talk about Bronny's son.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going. Like,
To the draft.
as much as I like Bronny, I think he'll be decent in the NBA. He's just so young right now. He's not going to be a star by any means, I don't think, but he can be a solid like a Drew Holiday type of player.
That's a really good player.
And
though.
he's
I don't even know.
it is, and it's IQ and defense, and that's something I see in Bronny's game. But have you seen his stats for the season at USC?
It's like
It's like
5
points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists,
Yeah, everybody was clowning
with
him
like
'cause
15 minutes a game.
because he had a 1-1-1 the other day. He had 1 rebound. Like he had 1 in every stat.
Yeah, so a lot of his draft projections were like mid first round, late first round, but now they're like falling way into the
Now
second.
it's like
second
Shanghai
or even
Shark
wait for next
territory.
year.
But
Like
yeah, what would you do if you're Bronny? Would you enter the draft or would you just give it another year?
If I'm Bronny, I like as much as you love to play with your dad, another year.
I'd probably,
Yeah,
I'd
like,
probably give
When it
another
comes down
year.
to money and draft, like where you get drafted, because obviously that depends your contract and where you'll be playing. I think it'd be best for him to develop another year.
And with like the NILs and stuff,
Yeah,
I just feel
he'll
like
he has like the most.
what
expensive
college
one.
wouldn't want LeBron James's son attending there?
Yeah, he could transfer anywhere.
Yeah.
For real. So
But
Yeah.
we'll see because it's just weird because LeBron is on an expiring contract, so the realistic option for them to play together would be this year. So that's why I don't know. We'll see.
all right, man. The NBA is nothing without these two teams, the Lakers, and then we got the Warriors. The Warriors, I said
They've been doing better.
they have, man. They're starting to heat up a little bit. They're in the same boat as the Miami Heat, I think, in the past couple years, except they won it all in the past. Why I say that is you can sleep on them all regular season. You can just be like, oh, this just ain't their year. They're bad. And then it comes playoff time or towards the end
Then
of the
they show
season,
up.
and they start heating up. Clay's coming off the bench. Chris Paul's coming back. Brandon Podziemski, he's been hooping. Kuminga's been hooping. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Warriors. I think they'll finish 9th. And that's what I was talking about. So that would be a Warriors versus Lakers playing game, and that'd be crazy.
That would be a good game. 'Cause those are two teams you expect to be deep in the playoffs at some point.
Yep.
But yeah, I agree. Warriors really slow start to the season. Klay Thompson, a lot of struggling. I will say as of recently, I'm talking like real recent, Klay has been hooping a little bit better. But majority of the season, we all know that Klay's been really like not looking like himself. But CP3 coming back, like you said, this team's heating up. As long as they can keep it into the playoff time, like Dom said, they did it last year. I didn't expect them to win the chip, but this team's not a team you want to play in the playoffs. They're scary.
Yeah.
And like I said with the Pelicans, I think that this is another team that you just do not want to see in the playoffs. Because when they really do have everything clicking, even someone like Andrew Wiggins is starting to hoop a lot more,
He is.
especially with Klay coming off the bench.
Yep.
I mean, like when it comes playoff time, I mean Steph Curry. I mean, I don't know if there's a scarier player, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, he's shooting wise. No, there's not.
Huh?
If you listen to every video of someone that's had the guard Curry, they say it's hell.
Yeah.
Like you have to literally sprint all game.
Yeah, go around
And
screens.
he's still like that nowadays. Like no matter the age, he's like that's one thing about age. Age can always take away your athletic ability, but it cannot take away your shot.
Nope.
And that's why Curry's still so dominant.
And there's no Matthew Dellavedova in the league right now.
Yeah, no delis
really.
to guard him.
Nope.
All right, we can fly by these next couple. Jazz, I said they're tanking as much as they can right now.
As they should.
Yeah, they're just dropping
There's
games
not much
left
going
and
on
right.
there, but I mean they've been playing well. Like their record's way better than I expected this season. They're
Yeah.
almost 500, but
But they don't want to be good.
they don't want it to be good. They shouldn't be as good. I think it's kind of upsetting when you have all this draft capital, but
Yeah.
they're all right. They're just mid.
Laurie is a great player, and I don't want to take anything away from him. But going forward, if you're trying to really compete for a championship, he cannot be your best player.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the Jazz are kind of just like see what we got type of moment. I mean, they have so much draft capital. They have solid pieces. Like,
yeah,
to
even
build
like
around, but
Keontae George, like being as
He's a
good as
great
he
player.
was.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, just like someone like Jordan Clarkson,
Sexton's starting to hoop.
you got to start moving
coming
off.
back to himself. Sexton is, and
Yeah. Yeah, like Keontae George will have them Clarkson minutes next year. It's going to be a whole different team.
yeah. So they're just gonna figure it out moment this year.
All right, so the Rockets, I said all they need is a superstar.
Jalen Green's a regressor. It's so sad. I think
It is
Jalen
sad.
Green is such a hooper, in my opinion, but he's the most inconsistent player in the league right now, like shooting wise. So it's sad, but just fitting what this Rockets timetable is right now, I think they're ahead of schedule, like with their depth, that I think they're going to have to make a move, like maybe a Jalen Green or something, to get like a dominant piece that fits their scheme, if that makes sense. So like they have a great squad, but I don't think Jalen Green fits that scheme that they have going on with the way their timetable is set up right now. I think they are also like a superstar away for becoming like a really good competing
Playoff team, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I put. Superstarless team, good young talent, but they don't have a true number one.
Yeah.
And if Jalen Green's your number one, there's a reason why you're as bad as you are.
I mean, Sengun's their number one.
Yeah.
But like Kyler was talking about, like, is Jalen Green really going to want to sit back and throw it in the post to Sengun because
Be
he
a
posts
third
up a
option
lot?
and
He
stuff.
doesn't want to do that. So get him out.
Yeah. Even Austin, Austin Rivers said this a couple years ago, but it was about Jalen Green and someone else on the Rockets. But just like, I don't know, when it comes to like fundamental basketball and like the right things to do, Jalen Green is just not
Yeah, I
that
agree.
guy.
I think Jalen Green is a pure scorer, but there's not much. Like, don't get me wrong, his upside is so good, like athletic and everything. Like, he can be a really good player in this league, but he's just so inconsistent. And, like, for what this Rockets team is, I feel like it's built more around defense and, like, ball movement. I feel like this team, like, Jalen Green just does not fit their scheme the way it needs to be. But I think they can get a really good return for him. Any young team looking for pieces, that's, like, the highest part. Like, you could throw a marketing in there or something with draft capital.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah, I could see that too. All right, we can really fly by these next couple because these are bad. Grizzlies, I said their bench should be stronger next year because with how much their bench guys are playing, bro. That's my only
That's
takeaway.
really
That's what
it.
I've learned is hopefully their bench is going to be pretty decent because they've been starting the whole year.
I would say one little thing for the Grizzlies is I think they're going to be a really strong defensive team next year.
Yeah.
Like, coming back with John Morant full.
With a top
everything's-
5 pick? They'll have a top 5 pick?
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. They're going to be a good squad next year. Like, don't sleep on the Grizzlies because we've seen what they've done before. This year's kind of a fluke for them just because of all of the mess that they've been in. Injuries, suspensions, just everything.
Yeah.
I would say this team sucks this year, but Dom said that bench is going to be strong next year, and, like, next year that Grizzlies team is going to be hooping. So don't be afraid.
Yeah, I think this year is just unfair to judge because like everything that could have possibly went bad went bad.
Yeah.
And some.
Year from hell. All right, the Trailblazers, I said this is Simon's team
Simon's a hooper.
when he's healthy. He's only played 38 games, but this is obviously the guy you need to build around. Scoot can still develop. He's averaging 12 a game.
Scoot's been
Scoot's looking
hooping
better.
recently.
Goggles is looking better.
Don't sleep on him. Like, bro, there was a reason, like, I was so high on him because he is, like, the exact type of point guard you want. Obviously, he's young and inconsistent, but guards struggle with that. If you look at the timetable of good guards, a lot of them have sucked early in their years and careers because it's hard to adapt from a college point guard to a fast-paced NBA. It's a lot different with the best players. So give him time. Scoot's going to be a great player once he gets it all figured out. He's been showing so many flashes recently, but I think their front court, like their guards, Shannon Sharp. Here we go again. Shaden Sharp, Anfrey Simons, and Scoot. That's the three you need to build around, and then everything else you just need to kind of fit in and
Rob Williams
around.
next year, he'll be back.
yeah, like that team has a young, decent squad, but they're gonna be bad for a couple years. But I think they're gonna be good in the future.
And even as much as I like someone like Jeremy Grant, like he has to be shipped.
No, he'll be shipped.
Yeah.
I think that
Gotta
signing
be shipped.
was literally to keep Dame there, and then they got rid of Dame. So then it's like, oh,
you got to pay somebody.
stuck with the contract.
You got to pay somebody. One quick thing is I was worried about that Scoot thing at the beginning because it reminded me of a little Markelle Fultz. Like, remember when
Yeah.
Markelle Fultz was like,
Yep.
yeah, I just can't shoot anymore. Well, he couldn't see. Scoot's wearing goggles because he was having eye problems. Like, this
Yeah.
wasn't in the scouting report, bro. Like, what you mean? You drafted a dude who can't see.
Yeah,
So,
but
that was crazy.
he is like
He's turning
such
it on.
an athletic freak though. Like, he'll figure it out. I really believe it.
I mean, all top. We'll get into the number one pick, but all the top three picks have all been hooping.
Yeah,
well,
Brandon Miller's been really coming to life recently too.
This is it right here. And this is our last team in the West, the Spurs. Obviously going to finish last. What I said is they have to really gut the roster next year
Yeah,
and find the right pieces around the alien.
this Spurs team,
That's the
Dang.
alien.
bro. Like,
That's his nickname.
bro, we'll go 2K real quick. Victor's rating is the highest I've ever seen a rookie ever been rated in the game for good reason. I mean, no one does the stuff Victor does, even as a rookie, and he's I think his overall rating's like 88 overall right now or something crazy.
Seriously?
Yeah, like it's high. Like he's
88?
yeah, as a rookie.
Dang.
So yeah, this team has such an unlimited ceiling.
Because of him. Yeah.
Because of him. I say gut the roster. Their scheme around him is horrible. Not to their fault because I mean, who would have known you're gonna land the best player? Well, the best prospect we've seen in forever. So yeah, they put a squad around Victor, pick and roll, Trey Young. Victor, I mean,
I've been hearing a lot of things about Trey Young.
Bro,
to
I'm
San
telling you, this
Antonio.
team could be so scary, like in the next couple years, if they have the
I
right
mean,
pieces.
Trey Young, we'll get to the Hawks, but he's sitting out for 3 weeks. DeJounte Murray, this is his chance to like put on for the city, show this is his team.
I'm seeing something
they
about
trade him next
them
year.
shipping Trey and keeping DeJounte.
That's what I just said. Like,
Yeah.
Like DeJounte, because Trey's out for 3 weeks now.
Mhm.
He's not playing. So DeJounte plays a good 3 weeks, and then the Hawks are looking back and they're like, we could just have DeJounte get more for Trey
Bro,
and play.
Yeah, and the Spurs draft capital, they don't have a ton this year, but like next year and the following year, so much.
Yeah.
Like they can ship so
Throw
much draft capital.
some picks and Keldon Johnson in there.
Yup. Well,
Yeah, deal.
get like someone
Real
crazy.
quick, because we'll get to it like later on. But like, if you're the Hawks, I don't know how you can move on from Trey Young. I just don't, because at the end of the day, you traded him.
For
You
Luka.
traded Luka away for him.
Yeah.
So like, if you move on from him, that's even a bigger fumble.
The only thing I say
Yeah.
with the Hawks is like, have we got to the Hawks yet?
No, we're
No.
almost
I say we save it till we get to the Hawks. 'Cause
All
we
right.
can have a whole debate about it.
All right. On to the Eastern Conference. We're going to start with the best team in the league, the Celtics.
That's exactly what I put.
That's what you
Best
said?
team in the
They
league.
are the best team in the league.
So I said this is not the same team as previous years, contrary to the belief.
Hashtag Seth.
Yeah, this ain't the same team. We have Porzingis and we have Drew Holiday.
Yep.
How is this the same team?
It's
Porzingis
completely
is
different.
literally like he was the first unicorn. Nobody said unicorn before Porzingis
No.
was drafted for a reason, because that dude can post up, shoot threes, hit a step back like Dirk. Like, he's ridiculous, man.
And play
If
like
he's
some of the
healthy.
craziest perimeter defense.
Exactly. And Tatum's not maybe his stats are the same as last year. That's fine. But
They
the
don't need
stuff
to
he's
be.
been doing as a point guard, like out of double teams, extra passes, stuff like that.
You know?
I'm all in love with this team right now. Just praying nobody gets injured. There's no reason for us to be playing guys like we did the other night that late into a game. Like, let's just chill, make it to the playoffs, be the 1 seed, and dominate.
Yep, I agree. I mean, this team, starters to bench, like deep. Like this team is not the same Celtics team we've seen the last couple of years where they'll flail out in a playoff series. But I think this team matches up with almost every team in the league, like very well.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be the hardest team to beat, not only offensively but defensively. Like you're going to have a hard time scoring on this team, man. I think their success is literally, like you said, built around injuries. If everything's healthy, this Celtics team is not. I wouldn't want to see this team.
Yeah.
So that's just what I gotta say.
All right, well, you got the hat on, man. The Donovan Mitchell led Cavs, and that's what I'm starting with. I said that's what I learned this year. Donovan Mitchell is the clear guy to keep.
Yep.
There's a little talks last year like Darius Garland, man, he's really good. I mean, Donovan Mitchell has shown, hey, I'm probably a top 10 player. If I want to be here, you guys should want me too, because I'm up there, man. We'll see what he does in the playoffs, but I mean, there has been like talks like, what did he do in the Knicks series? But then I thought, what did he do with that Jazz team? He just dominated in the
Yeah.
playoffs. The rest of the dudes didn't show up.
And
He
that was his
great in the
first year
playoffs.
in Cleveland. Like, there's a lot of difference when you go from a team you playing with the Jazz, chemistry built for 3-4 years and going in the playoffs. Then you're fresh new year on a new team. You have a good squad, but like you have not as much chemistry as some of these teams have been playing 4 years together. My thing with the Cavs, and I agree with you, Donovan Mitchell is the guy. Like, as much as I love Darius Garland and our other pieces, like Donovan Mitchell is, like, my opinion, the best shooting guard in the league. Like, he is like a straight bucket whenever you need one, and he can run the 1 and 2. I love Darius Garland. He's had a regressed year, but not as much because due to some injury and just him not playing the greatest or as aggressive, I would say.
Yeah.
I think Garland still has a deep bag, but he's going to figure things out. But I think this team's potential is through the roof. I really do. I mean, front court to back court. It's kind of a weird scheme, 2 big men, but with Evan Mobley starting to shoot 3-pointers, which he's been shooting pretty well, like 40%. Like, having that where we can actually stretch the floor and not rely with 3 shooters and 2 big men, like, this team's going to be really good, and they have a good bench, too. So I'm hoping to make some noise in the playoffs this year. I don't know if we'll win it all, but my goal is maybe to get up to the conference finals is what I can see the Cavs doing this year.
Yeah, I think this is probably the sneakiest team in the East, just because like
They don't get a lot of media coverage.
when they can get hot, or like when they get hot, they are hot, and like they even show they can beat any team in the league.
Yeah, like you said, Kyler, it's ridiculous. Like they'll talk about the Bucks and the Knicks all day, but the Cavs are sitting there at the second seed and they're not even getting talked about on ESPN. All right, but the Bucks, what I learned is coaching matters. That's what I learned because it just matters, man. I mean, their record's good. They're third in the East, but even with the record, nobody's really confident in the Bucks this year. Nobody is. So
Because they lose games that they have no business losing.
Yeah, I mean, not all Doc Rivers' fault. Taking a team over midseason is not easy task by any means, but I feel like it'd be a little bit easier with some of the players that you have with your big name as a coach. You know what I mean? Like you do kind of expect a little bit more than what you've been seeing on the floor. But yeah, like if this team doesn't heat up coming into playoffs, like I think they could be a sneaky first round exit. I really do. Like because they've been really losing some games they shouldn't have, and but we'll see. I think they'll still be a good team moving forward.
I mean, I said they'd finish second. I mean, it did piss me off a little bit. I was watching the game Sunday. They played they're coming up the Sixers. They played them, and all ESPN was doing was like, the Bucks are heating up. I'm like, dude, they're beating the Sixers, man.
Yeah.
Like, they're beating up
With
this
no Joel Embiid.
injury-riddled team. But,
So,
all right, the Knicks. I said, this is the injury bug team this year.
yeah.
It seems like they made all these moves, did all these things. It's looking really good, and then everybody's injured. Mitchell Robinson still hasn't been back. Julius Randle is debating getting season-ending surgery. OG, he's going to be back. I think they'll be still frisky in the playoffs, but I think next year they'll be real strong.
I think next year will be their year.
Yeah.
To make some real noise.
Once they get Donovan Mitchell, right?
Oh, never happening. But especially now without the trades they made, I don't think it's realistic for them to get Donovan Mitchell now. If you went back last year, maybe.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Knicks fans will still tell you.
Yeah,
Knicks fans tell you
Knicks
they're going to
fans-
get LeBron next year.
Knicks fans are
Delusional.
ludicrous. And they're crazy. But anyway, yeah, I think this team has a lot of good players. Like I don't know, besides like Brunson, like I don't know if there's like another superstar, maybe Randall here, but like solid, really good players. They have all of that. Like even come down to Bogdanovich. Like this team is really solid, but like you said, injury bug. A lot of them are not on the court this year, so we'll see next year, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they'll be a very fun, even without Randall, I think they'll be a really fun playoff team to watch. But, I mean, realistically, I don't see them getting past the second round.
Yeah. All right, the 76ers. I said they're going to blow a bag in free agency this coming year. That's what I learned because they had a chance to go out and get a couple guys this year. They decided to pass on that because they learned Embiid was hurt, and they're like, how I'm seeing it is we're going to take the year off probably. If Embiid comes back, he probably won't, though, I don't think. And they'll just take this year off, come back next year and sign some big names, and they'll be back. Because
Full strength.
why would you want to rush a dude who's already injury-prone back and him get injured again?
I agree, and I kind of like having Maxey being able to really develop in that one role for the finish of this year.
That's a good point.
Joel Embiid's not playing probably if they do make playoffs until playoff time. I like the way Tyrese Maxey's been playing. He's been playing like one of the top guards in the league recently. So I just say let him develop this year, and then you have a big 1 and 5 that you can just throw in a couple pieces, and that team's gonna be good. So.
Yeah, I said even if like realistically Embiid comes back this season, they're still probably a first round bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too. All right, the Pacers. I said Tyrese is up there as the face of the league. I'm not even just saying just because of his play, but off the court. Like when you think about face of the league, this is American league, so American players. Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton. That's probably the top two right now as far as American players to take over like the LeBrons and Stephs of the world as the face of the league because most of the top guys are foreign guys. So
yeah, that's actually crazy. I never really thought about that. I mean, yeah, you could throw like Anthony Edwards in there.
yeah,
and stuff.
Ant. I forgot Ant.
Maybe even like LaMelo if you wanted, but man, I don't think he's on that pedestal yet.
Not yet.
But yeah, I agree. I mean, this Pacers team, I don't know. I don't like as much as what I thought Siakam was gonna bring to him. But he's also not signed next year, so we'll see. I doubt they don't sign him though. Like they're gonna sign him and build chemistry. So this Pacers team is gonna be really gritty and honestly a team you don't want to play moving forward next year because I think they'll still finish this year good. I don't know if they'll make as much noise in the playoffs, but that team offensively is through the roof. Like,
Yeah.
you can't stop that team offensively
You don't want to play a team that could just hit their threes and
and get down the court quick.
and play and shoot and score 150 points in the game. You don't want to, like, randomly. You don't want to play that
And
team.
your point guard dropping 20 and 15 on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
So.
You got anything on the Pacers, Nate, or we move on?
No, we can move on. I think they're just kind of like the. I mean, they're not as good, but I think they're like the Thunder version or the Eastern version of the Thunder, where like they're kind of overachieving this year.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to look back at what we had. We probably not a lot of us picked the over for the Pacers.
No, I think I definitely took the under.
Yeah. All right, the Heat, what I learned is if you didn't know already, they definitely don't take the regular season seriously. I mean, you got Jimmy out here fighting, Jimmy and Jovic, they're out here fighting bums because for the fun of it, basically, and then
We had
making
Thomas
fun of it.
Bryant on the bench swinging at Jose Alvarado.
Yeah.
Little midget dude.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I know. So it's like the Heat, they just don't take it serious, man. I got them finishing 7th.
I don't think they're going to make noise as much as they did last year. Not
Yeah.
even close. I don't think their roster is good enough to make as much
I don't
noise.
know. I don't know.
I-
They did
Why is-
not. Hold on. They did not have a. Let's not pretend like they did not have a bad or a good roster last year because
I will
realistically they
agree.
did not have a good
I
roster.
think they over-exceeded my expectations last year. I was saying that from the rip. I thought the team was going to be eliminated.
Yeah.
But they made it to the finals, so
Dude,
credit.
they literally went to overtime in the playing game against the Hawks. If they lost that game, they wouldn't even been in the playoffs.
I know that, but like when it comes playoffs time, Jimmy Butler is a different
No,
guy.
I'm agreeing with you, Nate. I've seen enough because I'm a Celtics fan, so it's easy for me to say. Once they get eliminated, then I'll be like, whew. But until then, I just got to just
I
sit
don't
on my
know.
hands.
Like if they played
they
the,
don't- they're
let's
not
say the
impressive
first
to me, though.
round. Let's
They're
say the
not.
first round they
They're
play
not.
the Bucks.
They lose.
I honestly would take the Heat in
Actually-
that series.
It's a tough one.
That one's tough. But, like, I feel like the Heat just don't match up.
And like the East ain't that good. Like outside the Celtics and Cavs, like we talked about.
It's
just not that good.
it's the Celtics and it's a gap, and then it's
Yeah, I know.
everybody
That's
else.
but yeah, it's tough. So we'll see what happens, man. But you just never know. The Orlando Magic. I said Paolo is young Tatum.
That boy remind me of LeBron, bro. Not like
LeBron?
just like LeBron, but like somewhat the way he plays, like his post.
I love
like,
his passion for the game.
Yeah,
Like when he hit
he a
that
hooper.
game winner the other night, and he was like crying because
Yeah.
like I don't know. It's just you like seeing stuff like that because especially with how kind of the older demographic looks at the NBA now, it's like these players don't care. So to see a young guy like that actually like really care about
Yeah.
a regular season win, I don't know.
I think Paolo's like, I think he's gonna be a face of the league in maybe a couple years. Like give him
Yeah.
some time to develop, but I think that boy will be a top 10 player in the future.
How old do
like,
you think Paolo is?
He's like 21, 22.
21.
21.
He's
He
younger
has
than
a,
us.
and he's a 6'9" frame, weighing like 240.
Yeah.
Like that boy is a hooper, bro. I'm telling you.
I
like,
picked Tatum because of what he does defensively.
Yeah.
And it's easy
I
to
can see
say
it.
because he went to Duke.
Yeah.
Paolo went to Duke and Tatum went to Duke, so it's an easy pick. But like I looked at their stats, and Paolo's doing just what young Tatum did, like sitting on the team, average a little bit, and then he's just gonna explode
Yeah. I
come
think
25.
you give Paolo a couple years, I think he'll be a top 10 player. That's my prediction now.
Yeah,
Even the Magic are kind of exceeding
they're- that-
expectations.
Yeah, they're a young squad that's pretty deep. I think they're a couple pieces away from also making some big noise in the future.
And they're a good defensive team.
You know,
I
Yeah,
don't know. They
for
could
sure.
make
Jonathan
noise in
Isaac
playoffs.
Always hurt though. That boy got hurt again.
Did he?
I think so.
I didn't know
I'm pretty
that.
sure he got hurt again.
No way. He's
that
been
boy needs to
important.
retire and become a coach.
Yeah, I think
He
so.
really does. He's
Yeah.
a great defensive player, but can't stay healthy.
All right, Chicago Bulls.
Disband.
This man, that's what you had. I
don't
said.
even know what to say about
I said
them.
Kobe White is their best player. That's what I learned. We're just doing what we learned. That's what I learned is Kobe White's their best player. He's just been hooping, man.
I think what I've learned about the Bulls, what I've learned the last 2 years, like blow it up.
yeah, that's what you learned.
We all know is ready, man. They're the
Yeah.
only team that really believes that they're gonna do something, but it's just not there yet.
I think it's something like they've made only 2 trades in the last like 4 or 5 seasons.
And I don't want to keep
or
saying
something
next
like
year,
that.
next year, because that's something the Bulls we've already gave to them. We've already
Yeah.
gave them next year and next year.
Yeah,
they
I
just
know.
can't get healthy, and
They're
they
waiting,
don't have
they're
a good
waiting
enough
for
squad.
Lonzo to come back after 2 full seasons.
Bro,
Yes.
Lonzo's out here shooting, right? And then he hops in his wheelchair and wheels off the court.
That's
like,
what I'm
that's
saying.
not happening.
He'll be
bro.
taking corner 3, splashing, wheelchair out there. Then.
All right, the Hawks. I said this is my prediction. This is what I think I've learned is they're also tanking. I think they're tanking, man. I mean, Trae Young, he was battling with that shoulder injury for a while. I'll give him that, but just randomly. You're battling for the playoffs, and now he goes out. It's a little frisky to me. I mean, I think they're trying to slide out the playoffs. Remember the Mavs last year? They were at the end of the year. They had a chance to get in the play-in, and they threw it away.
Because Luka wasn't playing or something.
Yep, and then they got Derek Lively out of it.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah, because if they made the play and they lost their pick or some shit because it was lottery protected.
Yep. And then they get Derek Lively. So, I mean, with that incentive, the Hawks, if they draft well, could get, a decent rotation player and just hop in the next year rolling.
That's funny you brought that up because I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
I think the owner got fined like a lot of money, though.
Oh,
the Mavs? Yeah.
Yeah, they got fined a lot because of that.
Yeah, he did.
That's messing with the
I mean, it is. I mean, he threw the game. It's
purification
throwing,
of the game.
Like it was an actual throw.
Yeah, he just randomly sat Luka, and Luka's like perfectly healthy.
And they could have made the plans.
Yeah, so. Luka's probably like, okay, I'll go to the hookah shop.
But
so, drawing full circle back to this, you gotta keep Trae Young happy. I don't care what.
His name's been on the market for a second.
I know, but like at the end of the day, like I said, you trade away Luka, who is without a doubt the face of his franchise right now. You have to keep your face of the franchise happy.
Yeah, like I know you want to see it as like from the Spurs perspective, but if you're the Hawks GM, would you do that?
I mean, that's something they got to talk about. I mean, their timetable. I haven't seen any success since Trae Young's been in the Hawks. Like, there's got to be a time, at least there's got to be some glimpse of success. And
I will say, like,
you get DeJounte to help that, and there still hasn't been. Like, their defense is horrible, year after year.
Right. I will say, out of all of the superstars in the league, Trae Young's probably the hardest one to build around because he's so small and he can't like do anything on defense at all. Literally. It's like building around prime Isaiah Thomas for the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you gonna do, man? He's so little.
I mean, you have such an offensive threat, but like that's why they got DeJounte was to help him with some of that defense at the guard position, and it has not panned. So like that's something they really got to evaluate going into next year. Like, what is their future and timetable looking like? Because age only goes up, and Trae Young's only gonna be so young. He's at his max value right now if you were to sell him. So you got to see.
All right, these last couple we can kind of scoot on by. The Brooklyn Nets. I said Mikal is not a number one option. That's what I learned. If you want to be a good team, Mikal's not going to be the best player on that team. I mean, I think that's obvious.
Yeah, he should be a 2.
He's not a superstar, it's because superstars will win a couple more games than he is. So that was my take.
This is probably my favorite youngest team in the league right now. Just like in terms of like potential.
Yeah.
But they have zero direction at the moment.
Yeah, firing their coach, like they don't even.
I mean, and even before that, like they just did not look like a competent basketball team in almost half their games.
Well, they also had like mid-season trades, and then
but when you're losing to like what,
figure it out now.
They lost by what 50, 40 to the Celtics.
I'm not saying they're like
Cam Johnson's on the bench now.
Like you can't.
Cam Johnson on the bench now.
He's struggling, dude.
Really?
He's been shooting like past 20 games. He's been shooting like 20% from three.
He's like the Walmart Michael Porter, in my opinion. But yeah, I like this net squad, like some of their pieces, but they're not going to be anything anytime soon. Yeah. No offense to them, they got kind of screwed the way things worked out, but hopefully they can bounce back.
They got a lot of assets.
They need to get like a real good like guard or something. My favorite guard in this draft, I don't know if we want to talk about draft. I know we don't want to get into it.
Been looking into
but if you know who Robert Dillingham is,
yes,
bro, I've been watching this boy since high school, and he was projected like a top 20 pick. He needs to be like a top 5 pick in my opinion. Like that man is so good, and imagine him on any like team that needs like an offensive point guard. I'm just saying. That's my little sleeper for the draft.
Which the Nets would need. They definitely need a point guard, a true point guard.
I'm just if you watch Robert Dillingham, I didn't even know he was in this draft until I seen him playing at Kentucky, and I was like, bro, I forgot about him. Like he's so good.
Well, you be our draft expert, man, because I mean March Madness we'll probably all watch it, but
I don't know about
before that, it's like I'm not a great draft expert.
I think the first pick is the same guy who played on Victor's team.
Oh, yeah.
His name's Alexander Sarr. He kind of has, like, Victor's game in him, so it's kind of scary what these overseas people are producing, so I don't know.
Yeah,
they got some freaks.
Yeah, like 18 and 19-year-olds.
Because when you guys mentioned that earlier about, like, all these, I didn't even really think about that. There's more, like, foreign players
Joel,
than there is American
Giannis, Jokic, Wemby,
Luka.
And 10 years ago,
Embiid,
all the foreign players were busts, like, I mean, he was a good player, but Danilo was a bust.
Yeah.
The dude that the Raptors took a long time ago was a bust.
I remember when the Knicks selected Porzingis, everyone in New York was going crazy. Yeah. And they did. I mean, he played really well until he got hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, he's back again, though. Back in his prime.
All right, a couple more teams. The Raptors, I said, they're now in young core rankings. Like, they have a young core, so we'll see what they do with it.
Yeah, there's not much going on there.
Yeah, I'll not be tuning in to much Raptors games for the rest of the
They're
season.
kind of in the same position as the Bulls, where they just got to.
Oh, I wouldn't say Bulls because they kind of did so. They're more of like a Nets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
They had,
don't
like,
know.
Scotty
I
McCall.
mean,
Who they gonna trade though?
R.J. Barrett.
They just got him.
They just got him. Bro.
Yeah, but that's not somebody that I think you want to necessarily
Build
build
around.
I
They're
just
building
feel
around
like
Scotty though.
They're gonna finish their season. They're gonna build around Scotty. Like everything else, like Quickly's been looking like a good piece for him.
Quickly's
I'll
been
say
hooping.
that he's been hooping.
I will say, Emmanuel quickly has been hooping.
Hoping.
But yeah, I don't know. There's not. I got nothing else to say about the Raptors. It is what it is right now.
Yeah. The Hornets, I said we still have no idea what they should do. I mean, they don't know what to do. I don't know what they should do, so I'm not even gonna talk about it because I don't know, bro.
I got something to say about the Hornets.
All right, well, wait, real quick, what would you do if you're the Hornets GM? They hire you tomorrow. What are you doing for this team?
First off, I'm probably selling half the team.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting rid of half the players. Like I'm building around Brandon Miller, LaMelo, and their center. What's
Nick
his name?
Richards.
Nick
No,
Richards.
Mark Williams.
Mark Williams.
Yeah, but Nick Richards is their backup. Mark Williams.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
their
They're
starter.
saying they need to keep both those centers.
Yeah.
Keep LaMelo, Brandon Miller. Scrap everything else. Everything else is not fitting.
Yeah.
They need to change this type of team. What's it called? Team chemistry. Because these boys don't care about hooping. They care about paychecks.
Yeah.
Like I mean, LaMelo probably has like 8 cars all wrapped in different colors.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm telling you, they don't care about. They got
Yeah.
jewelry on. They don't care about basketball. Like if you literally
They
sit
don't,
down and
no.
watch some Hornets players talk and interviews and stuff,
Yeah.
you got Miles Bridges rapping and slapping girls. So I don't know what's going on. over there.
No, I
No.
agree, bro. They need like some teams they'll be like they need to bring in a vet. No, they need to bring in like 5 vets.
Like 5 vets.
Like I'd sign Kevin Garnett to a deal right now. Like just
God.
come in the locker room and just
I'm
bark
pretty
at
sure
him.
the
boys
Hornets
too.
Twitter page like uploaded a video of them like going shopping for jewelry
Probably.
Yeah.
and
These
like
boys
do
don't
that.
care about hooping.
it's just like how are you gonna promote this and like
I think they have
Yeah, I
good
don't know.
players. Like they do have good players, but they're just not serious about basketball. So
Yeah.
until they can get some veterans, maybe some extra good players, they're not going to be making noise. And LaMelo's also been injured the last couple of years, so he needs to. I need to see a full year of healthy LaMelo because he is good when he does play.
All right, the Wizards. What I learned is they have the worst contract in the NBA.
100%.
The worst contract. Sorry to
34
say it.
mil for a most inefficient scorer.
Coming off the bench.
Now off the bench. Yeah, there's Wizards are in shambles. I think
Hey.
the only player they should even be looking to consider in their future is Koulibaly.
Yep.
And then maybe like
And you traded one of them.
yeah, and you traded Daniel Gafford. I don't understand that. That was like your second best. I mean, you're probably your best player actually.
That was their best player.
and they traded him for not much either. They didn't get much back from him either. So
I mean, what? Danny Avdija, he's been playing all right.
yeah, didn't he? Corey Kispert. Yeah, there's nothing going on at the
Yeah.
There's nothing to talk about.
all I gotta say is free Jordan Poole.
Okay, bro. Yeah.
Free him. That should be his team.
Yeah.
He
That
can't
boy
do-
making bank.
Yeah. Free.
Last team, the Detroit Pistons. What I learned is Monty Williams, that might be
Money Williams.
that might be the worst coaching hire of all time, considering how much he's making.
How much is he making?
He's the highest paid coach, and they
Huh?
they tied for the worst losing record in season.
Well, I know that, but I didn't know he was the highest paid
Highest
coach
paid
with
coach.
that.
Got you that product.
Before the Spoelstra signing, he was the highest paid coach.
Pistons.
Yeah, he's
This
highest
is,
paid
like
coach.
this is another team. Like the Pistons are the most, in my opinion, the most underwhelming team of this year. Because before the year, I thought they were gonna be like maybe a 500 team. Like I really believed that with
I
Cade
did.
coming back,
I did.
Jalen Duren. I like him a lot as a center. Like they have good players, but these boys have no chemistry. Like if you watch them play, they don't even look like they know what they're doing together.
No.
Like, it's kind of like Cade Duren, everything else. I mean, I guess you can keep who's their shooting guard?
Well, they run Ivy and Cade.
Ivy.
Yeah,
They need to keep Ivy, Cade, Duran. Everything else is shippable, tradable. Like I said, I would love a Levine for this team. I'm telling you, I really would.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Sum up the season in one sentence for me. They, well, from Monty's perspective, they were starting Killian Hayes all year. All year.
That's how you lose.
And then they cut him. So why you been starting him, bro? Like, this is on you. Like, he had a problem with Jaden Ivey. I don't understand why. And now Jaden Ivey's hooping, and you look like a dummy.
Yeah, you do. And not only that, yeah, you started a player you cut
Yeah.
throughout the whole season.
bad.
But
And-
has he even signed anywhere yet?
No, I was about to
he's
just say
done.
that. In the player that you cut, that was starting for you has not even signed with another NBA
He'll
team.
be throwing lobs in China next year.
Yeah.
bro.
Like I promise you, he probably won't be in the league. 'Cause He's
Shanghai
not
Sharks.
good.
Yeah, he'll be throwing lobs to Dwight Howard on Instagram.
Yup,
Just
yup.
check it out. All right, the last thing I had, we can go on this quick. Drafting our top 5 players you love to watch. This can be can all be the same, so we can just go in list order. I'll go real quick. Nikola Jokic, Steph Curry. This is kind of a homer pick for me. Devin Booker, Wemby the Alien, and Anthony Edwards.
Off the top of my dome, I'm going with 5 bucket getters
Okay.
that I just think it's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole 1.
All right.
I'm just joking. All right,
All
for real. Jokic 1, obviously.
Okay.
Curry 2.
Yeah.
This is in no order.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably put Devin Booker just because his mid-range
Bro, he's so
game,
smooth.
it's so smooth.
Yeah.
It's so fun to watch. And then 5, just because when he is dominating, like nobody can stop him. I'm gonna go Giannis.
Okay. No De'Aaron Fox. Okay.
Mine's gonna be kind of different than your guys's. Mine might not even be the best players. These are my
This is your personal.
my personal favorite players to watch in the league. Number 1, we're gonna start just with my boy Donovan Mitchell. I love Mitchell. He plays for my team. You can't pick your own best player, not be on your list. So I'm picking Mitchell. Number 2, I'm gonna throw Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, that boy, he's so fun to watch. Like he really is. Like I even said Nate. I think this dime he had the other day. Boy stopped his dribble, threw it off the board, ran up, caught it. As he's in midair, dimes it to the corner, and he switches it.
Yeah.
Like, this boy just crazy assist, crazy player. I love Tyrese. Number 3, I'm going to put Jokic in there. I just think he's so fun to watch, even though I say it all the time.
He's just the most dominant player.
It's so unathletic. It kind of just crazes me, like, how good he actually is on the NBA
Without
court.
jumping,
Yeah, like,
yeah.
just his moonshot, like,
Yeah.
Jokic is there for sure. And then I'm going to put Wemby. I love watching Wemby, bro. Like,
Yeah.
7'4" guard. That's all I got to say. And then
Last player.
number 5 is a debate. I'll kind of put them both on the list because they're similar. I'm going to put Shea, and I'm also going to put Luka kind of as my 5. Like, those are my 2 favorite players, just bucket getters. At any time. Like,
Luka.
they're going to get a
is
bucket.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like, if they win a bucket, those 2 players are going to get
If
a
I
bucket.
redid mine, Luka has to be in the top 5, just because the way that he scores is so different than everybody
is.
else. Like
It's a different type of game for
he
him.
just understands how to score a lot more.
Like, he doesn't
efficiently.
play like the generational or like the normalized basketball player nowadays. Like, it's so fast paced. But when Luka has the ball, he does
Slow
it. It's
pace,
slow
yeah.
pace, his own thing, slow jumper. Like, he gets his shot. Like, he just runs
And
a
even
really
like
good basketball.
getting to the rack sometimes is just so smooth.
He's not really
It's like-
athletic either. Like, Luka's not athletic. He just is so good and so smart. So that's how he is.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, that was the podcast, y'all. Thanks for checking in with us, man. We'll be back next week with more NBA content. Playoffs are ramping up, so we'll be back, man. Check us out on social media. I'll have clips coming up. But thanks for checking us out, man. It was real, y'all. Peace.